Yo, what is going on, guys? Dr. Schwaz here. Welcome back to another Gears 5 video. Today I'm going to be discussing tips and tricks for the mechanic class in Gears 5. Let's get started. Tip number 1. If you're playing Horde, try to get a Lancer early on from a teammate or a Cyclops, which will always spawn early. Very handful for the first couple of ways to survive. Better than having an Enforcer, which doesn't really shoot as far, doesn't do a lot of damage. The chainsaw is really valuable in killing a lot of the smaller enemies that can easily wipe the team in the early ways if you're not careful. Tip number 2, try to see where your teammates are set up and try to place fortifications to enhance their setup. Horizontal barriers and doorways, shock sentries placed in areas to slow enemies down, MG sentries towards the back of the base by the fabricator in case you have sentinels. Combine barrier and posts into one, so that minimizes boom shots being hit on the ends of barriers, especially level 2 barriers. Your job as engineers, try to enhance your team setup. Try to not to overbuild with sentries. Barriers and weapon lockers are the way to go at the beginning, and then let your team perk early and you'll be good to go. Tip number 3, which I already kind of mentioned, Overclock is great to bring, a must-have in my opinion. And build barriers first and then weapons lockers. Your DPS classes need constant ammo resupply, so this is a card that's must have for survivability in high difficulties. So if you're running a demo or demolitions, gunner, pilot, those classes kind of relying on a locker. Personally, I've seen tacticians not need one because their ultimate sort of makes up for the weapon locker need, but I would still build a locker for everybody because this is what I would do. But yeah, I always bring Overclock. One of the classes in the game is probably going to need it, so just a great card to bring anyway. Tip number 4, healing repair is a must-have in Horde. As long as you're repairing something with damage, you're basically invulnerable, unless you're getting shot with constant boom shots. Then probably not, but the stim that you can regenerate from like a broken decoy or a bunch of broken barriers is great, so that's a must-have card. Tip number 5, once you're about to use your ultimate, make sure to notify your teammates, like if you're in party chat. Sometimes there's a slight lag or delay that occurs to everyone else in the lobby when deploying the turret, which could disrupt the flow of the game if you don't warn your teammates. Now obviously if you're playing in a random lobby, there's no way to know. It's a bug or it's something related to people with certain Xboxes may not experience it, like the newer ones. Series X players may not notice, but it is something to be noteworthy about. The final tip is tip number 6. The mechanic's turret is also a fortification, so cards like overload and fortification damage perks also apply to it. So if you perk up fort damage, the turret bullets do more damage, therefore the more bleed they'll do if you have running the shredder rounds card. And if you run overload, the turret is over half health, it'll do more damage. Anyway, if you're running those cards, you can be a DPS engineer, so the turret is pretty good, a lot better, more useful, the ultimate than the tracker balls for sure. And that is pretty much the tips and tricks for the mechanic. One other last tip I'd probably bring up is if you're running the mechanic and escape, the class has a lot of synergy with the anchor. Tip number 7 I'd probably throw in here is if you're running mechanic and escape, the class has a lot of synergy with anchor where you could pop the turret up and then shoot through the barrier, so the bullets do even more damage, 50% more damage. So useful in that. You could run the custom robotics cards and the personal defense cards as well. If the hives have an enforcer, not a lot of hives have enforcers, like the Detour has one early, and if you have a hive with like a Magos early, like melee brawl, you might see some there. Those are some cards you'd run in escape if you want to run the mechanic that way. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. That will conclude the video. And leave any comments, questions, concerns below, and y'all have a good one. Peace out.